So, and special meeting of successor agency, the Guadalupe Redevelopment Agency Board. May we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Here.
Councilmember Robles,
Present.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Lozelle absent, Mayor Julian.
President. All right, please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we get to item 3, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. This, as you may recall, this time last year it was raining. And it was raining pretty hard. And it was an eventful time for the city. I saw in the newspaper that they dredged it up a little bit. A couple of the individuals down below. And then I heard today in the news that how many, 20 or no, a whole slew of residents were displaced, which was not true. Anyway, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but we don't, I know that every time it rains, those individuals down there and everybody here in the community is kind of concerned that we're all doing well with the rain. And also, as we look at 24, in the next 3 years, 2.5 years, you're going to see a lot of development here in Guadalupe, including the school, including Caltrans, including all the work that's going to be done along Highway 1, Highway 166. So it's going to be a very a good year for us. So and a good 3 or 4 years for us. Moment of thanks, condolences, appreciation. I have one. Mr. Gregorio Dominguez was killed on Christmas Day. He's a local resident, was killed on Highway 166 Main Street on Christmas Day. So peace to him and his family. That stretch of road, especially if you're drinking, you really have to watch it. Anyway, that's all I had. Anybody? You got
Yeah, I got
your mic, sir?
There's also, in December, a person I used to work with Gilbert at the barber shop that some of the community might know, young Ken, he passed away in December. And from battle of cancer that he was trying to fight and all, but just let residents know who might have known him. You know, he worked with Gilbert there at 9th Street Barber Shop. He was one of the chairs in there for a while and stuff. So yeah, condolences to his family and
Thank you.
friends.
Okay, next item, agenda review. At this time, the city council will review the order of business to be conducted and receive requests for or make announcements regarding any changes in the order of business. Is there anybody here at the council that would like to change the order of business?
I'm okay.
No, the staff, good? Okay, we'll go to item 5, community participation. Each person will be limited to a discussion of 3 minutes or as directed by the mayor, pursuant to the Brown Act. Miss Gloria Villegas. Welcome.
Thank you.
You notice how I pronounce Villegas because I
Very good.
said it before.
Very
Very
good. So as he's introduced me, yes, my name is Gloria Villegas. I'm here on behalf of the Guadalupe Dune Center. I am the new outreach coordinator. And today I would like to just review some of the contributions that we've made to the city, even just within the last quarter. One of the big events that took place in October was the 100-year anniversary of the 10 Commandments. Which you all may have heard about. It was all over town. It was a great success. We brought in hundreds of people from all over, lots of great business, and we actually shuttled guests out to the dig site, which was a big hit. 3 shuttles, all sold out. We had a wait list and a line out the door. So we are planning to do this annually. Obviously, it's not going to be the 100-year, but we would like to have this event every year and use the shuttle process to get people out to Big Side. There were so many people out there. They were interested. Unfortunately, we're not able to get on the shuttles because they were already sold out and we had a whole wait list, but there is a great interest. And I think not only people in the surrounding areas and those who came from other cities, but even those here in town didn't even know or had never even been inside of the Dune Center, nor were they even aware that the 10 Commandments were filmed right here outside in our backyard, you know? So it was a great opportunity to get the community together. All the businesses who participated sold out. We had activities at the park, which was great, and had lots of great kid activities. And we will be doing this annually. Another program that will be launched within the spring is the Explore the Coast program. That is an educational program that funds over $60,000 a year to our junior high schools through education, through field trips, through adventure and experience that they wouldn't have otherwise in their homes or opportunity to do so. And that will begin, I believe it's in March, but that's running down the pipeline. Plans are in place, and we will be launching that this spring. Along with Explore the Coast, we also have another project that will be taking place, which is Coastal Stories. Have you all heard of Coastal Stories? Coastal Stories, I'll give you a brief description because I know my time is limited here.
Take your time.
What was that?
Take your time.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the Dune Center aims to uncover the untold history of Guadalupe's people and highlight the overlooked magnificence of the dunes. Our goal is to foster a strong community through connection to the dunes, instilling pride in the local identity and showcasing the rich history of the people, particularly emphasizing narratives of those in the BIPOC community. So we have, we're just about to unravel this project. We're guesstimating mid-January, and this will definitely require community engagement. We have a couple of big events that we will be planning, and we would like to get those in the community involved in way of telling the story of Guadalupe. The story of Guadalupe from generations and the history and just the evolution of time, even in food industry, culture, and how it ties into the dunes. And we will be using signage. We will be also revitalizing the parks with murals and something that's a little bit more accessible and educational to direct guests and community members to the dunes. And it's clearly stated and also, you know, appealing and engaging, and actually causes them to be curious enough and educated enough to know like the beauty that's out there. So with that being said, that will be something that is, we will be unpacking, and I will continue to attend these meetings, and when we have more details and dates, I would like to partner with some of the community members, whatever organizations that are here in Guadalupe that can help just facilitate these events and get people involved, get the word out there, get that engagement. That would be wonderful. And we are all ears and welcome any referrals. We also have, we actually already have a crew lined up. So once the beach opens or that access point, we get calls all day, every day, just an FYI. When is the beach opening? We generally are currently directing them 5 miles north to Oso Flaco, and we're using that hike, and we provide community hikes every month, sometimes multiple times a month. This month we did do a point sale, or we're going to be doing a point sale. But once we get that open, because everyone loved, of course, that access point and that hike and the beach, we would like to do a community cleanup We have some Boy Scouts, an entire crew of them who are like eager to get out there as well. So I'm sure we're gonna get an update on that with the projected reopening to that access point. Yeah, and just let us know, all hands on deck. We would love to get out there, get a crew together and get that beach cleaned up. We'll get a hike scheduled so we can get community out there, and we're excited about that. Okay, so one of the last and final events or just community activities that we are pondering is a Sunday Fun Day for families, which we would like to partner with some of the businesses in the community to do an event where it's educational, that we provide activities for the kids, that is engaging. We will provide tours. However, we found that Sundays are a little bit quieter, so we're thinking about doing something around spring break and doing it so there's bounce castles, maybe partnering with the Boys and Girls Club, doing some kind of, you know, food vendor. We'll do a barbecue with hot dogs and burgers and all that good stuff to actually get people out there and get the kids out there to do something, you know, healthy, educational on a weekend. So I would like to just open up any opportunities for networking or connecting with the community. Again, this is a new role that I've taken on, and I'm still getting familiar with how this city you know, is structured. And I just know that like in big cities like Santa Maria, we have a chamber and all the businesses meet together. I was wondering, is there a business or a network or a organization that is equivalent to something like that?
Yeah, it's a Guadalupe Business Association. So if you go to the website, visit Guadalupe.org, visit Guadalupe.org. It'll get you to that website and all the individuals connected with that, so.
Cool. Okay, so if there is something, I knew there was something, I just didn't know what or where. So that's great to know. I will definitely go on to that website and do my research. And then outside of that, being an outreach coordinator, are there organizations that are nonprofit or that are within the same or like under the same umbrella that I should be connected to help in the community more actively and get involved in any way?
There are quite a few. So we spent another hour just trying to connect that. So if you go to visit Guadalupe.org, you'll find out that there's some key contacts within in that website and individuals. So, and once you start that ball rolling, you'll get a lot of connections.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Are there any questions or
Sure.
comments?
I have a quick comment. I know that the Dune Center in the past, I believe it was April 22nd, they do celebrate Earth Day. So you can, that's probably a good day to mark something and get people involved, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just an idea.
April 2nd?
April 22nd,
Oh,
2024, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was 2 events, if I'm correct, or one, yeah, Earth Day.
Oh,
right.
fun. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely add that to the agenda. Yeah, we'll look into that one.
Cool,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item for discussion or on the business is the consent calendar. Following items are presented for city council approval without discussion as a single agenda item. Is there a council person who wishes to pull an item for further discussion? Not, is there a motion to approve?
A motion to approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Thank you. Management reports, city administrative report, information only.
Thank you, Mayor and council and public at large. I just wanted to let you know that I'm sure you've got the Santa Maria Elks Lodge firefighter appreciation night is Wednesday, January 17th. I will be there. And I think today is the deadline for signing up for, or to put your name in the hat. to be-
Firefighter?
Yes,
Did you
firefighters.
go to that?
When, last year?
No.
No, I
this-
got I'll have to email her
Yeah.
to put in. I didn't know today was the last day.
Yeah, the ninth, I
They're-
think.
they'll-
They might take it after that too, so, but I'll be there and
Okay.
Do I gotta pay $20?
that part of it,
Or Christina and also.
I'll cover for you. And then also, great news, the city earned another 44,000 and some change in December. Total for the quarter for interest earnings was 115,000. Thanks, Janice. I know. You know, you just put the money in and it earns. And then urban planning concepts update, Brian Tetley, who came to our council meeting, you know, when we first hired Urban Planning Concepts, he was gonna be the person that'd be our talented planner. He soon left for another position, I think Cal Poly, and now we have David Swank, who's the principal planner, and he will be assuming that role. So it'll be seamless. We haven't really lost anything, and I thought maybe David could come up and just introduce himself because he'll be involved in a lot of planning activities.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is David Swank. I'm a principal planner of the Senior Partners for Urban Planning Concepts. It's correct, Mr. Tetley decided to go to academia and they lured him away from us, but it will be seamless. I think I've recognized some faces in here. I've done a lot of work in Guadalupe. Way back in the early 2000s, I was the project manager and I wrote the DJ Farm specific plan. So I did the entitlements for that project. So I drive by and see the fruits of my work from that time. And also worked with like Appio and other businesses in this area. So very familiar with Guadalupe. So we'll be seamless. This is actually my first week and getting things organized in the office and getting ready to go. Improved my first permit today. So we're looking forward to working with the community and I'm always available if you have any questions, you need help on anything.
Yeah, well, welcome. I'm glad to have you here.
Mayor and council also, HDL, there's a transition. AJ, I can't pronounce his last name, Clury, who's been integral in the whole delivery of the cannabis program with us after McPherson left. He's now left and accepted a job with the City of Anaheim Economic Development Department. So in will walk and it will be seamless as Mark Lovelace, which Philip and I have both worked with. He's going to step in and assume the role to help us continue with the cannabis audits and applications, et cetera. So I just want to give that update. The Santa Barbara Council of Governments, just to let you know, on January 17th, the Oversight Board will see that piece on the transfer of the real property to the City of Guadalupe for future development. And then that'll also be contingent and conditioned upon execution of a compensation agreement by the City of Guadalupe, which is in the works right now. City Hall, I just put in what we submitted for the grant, which breaks it out into categories and costs. And I was talking to Denise today, and I think we should get together with the council and have a workshop when it comes to this and the ARPA funds.
Right.
So we'll work together to try to establish a meeting once we get past the audit, but pretty soon. Set up a meeting with council to sort of say, hey, let's do a relook and a check on ARPA, and we have till July to spend it. So the idea is maybe my thought is to use this fund for City Hall because it could be later, and then work on what we're going to do with ARPA now, because at one point we're going to use ARPA for the roof. But we could use these funds for the roof because that's what it's for, and also for the chief and what you guys feel is important. Public engagement, Meg Henry, the engineer from Caltrans. We tentatively set up, or actually we want to set up a meeting for Wednesday, January 31st for a public engagement meeting to talk about the projects as a whole. The mayor will be there at 6 o'clock to sort of provide an introduction and give some background, and then they'll go over all those projects. So, and there's a link in the agenda if you want to kind of see what's there already and what's in the works.
For this, I have a question. For the public engagement workshop, can we have some flyers and?
Yes, I was just gonna say, yeah, on the 15th, their PR person's gonna meet with me, and then flyers will go out. It'll be on the website, and then I also instructed Eddie to put it on the marquee. And also, let's see. The Black Road, you might have read, there was a email string that went to the mayor regarding January 23rd. We were gonna have the Highway 166 and Black Road traffic signal project. presented at the council, but they're waiting on more information. And the mayor probably knows more about this than I do, but, so more to come when they're ready to present on that project. I don't know, do you wanna?
Yeah, what, it's really interesting is, I don't know if it's Fish and Game or one of the agencies would not allow any work along the channel because of it may impact a bug or something until after the rainy season. So it delayed that process until, probably May or June. So this meeting on the 31st is an important one because it talks about the bridge, it talks about 166 and Main Street. It talks about all the infrastructure that they're gonna move forward with, but that won't be until 25 and 26 that it actually happened, but it's best for people to know a simple thing like Obispo Street, lighting,
Mhm.
you know, the signalization and all the work that's gonna be done there, so,
And I also asked Meg to provide a Spanish translation and she will do that.
okay. good.
Okay.
And, are you finished or go ahead?
No, I got other ones.
And that's Wednesday, January 31st at 6,
At 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yep.
In city council chambers.
In the chambers, yeah.
Very good.
And it's already designated. I got it set aside, so.
And if somebody wanted to submit comment, I might not be available that day. Can we submit comment for this project a separate way?
I mean, I guess I didn't think of that, but I would assume that if you want to send it to me, I could definitely get it off to the
Or other
Caltrans.
residents, there might be other residents that might see this and might not attend. Maybe you can send an email on the way that they can submit a comment if they need it to.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Central Coast Processing, on December 13th, 2023, Central Coast Process received an expensive odor hygienist mitigation proposal. So they're gonna replace like 5 or 6 filters, do some more spraying, and I don't know, I was wondering to ask, I've lost my sense of smell, so it still smells?
Mhm.
So anyways, that's in the works. It's a kind of an expensive thing, so I'm hoping that all that will mitigate the odor.
But it's kind of a hit and a miss. It's
Okay.
not like a constant, it's like,
Right,
sometimes you get it, sometimes it just depends.
The goal
But it
is
still
to
there.
completely exasperate it, you know,
Yeah.
and get rid of it, so.
well, they don't have any fresh product coming in right now, so that's why it's,
Right, and that gives them time to work on
yeah,
their,
because coming,
Yeah.
like September.
Yeah, on
August,
harvest
September.
season. Is the ACPD working with them? also?
yes, they're lockstep.
Very good.
Fresna update. On Friday, December 15th, Fresna held their final monthly meeting of 2023. They reached out to introduce Fresna and support food access in North Santa Barbara County. They shared updates on the mobile market visits to Guadalupe and how GBA helped develop a market in Guadalupe and shared final updates before the end of the year. Reach, on January 17th in Santa Barbara, there's going to be a meeting with Reach, which I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend, but I just wanted to share with you, they asked for some project and economic development updates and wanted to review these to share with you what some of the communities, and I just kind of threw together last minute some information on it for us. So these boards will be presented at that meeting. Which is interesting. You can see what other cities are planning to put there. But I'll try to make it there to at least present ourselves. Also, we're working on a climate action development proposal idea to see if we can get funding for a plan there. I won't go into the details because I'm not that knowledgeable about it, but I just wanted to throw it in there as some background. There's no cost to the city. Also, on February 7th from 12 to 4 at the Santa Maria Elks, the Growing Possibilities Econ Alliance meeting is going to be held. And there's going to be a number of different speakers there. The Measure SRTC BP program pre-application summary of the school district sidewalk and in the amount of $680,000 was submitted. Now, keep in mind that of all the agencies that submitted, it was 1.8 million. So don't be surprised if we don't get the full 680 because it's, there's other demands. FEMA flood reimbursement finally went through and got all those 4 submitted for the Leroy parking lot. The city street cleanup, debris removal, and also the Ponce berm and the spray field. And actually, Dwayne Chisholm helped put the estimates for this, the berm and the spray field. So that was kind of a odd, you had to do it online and it was just really kind of complicated, but I won't go into all how goofy that was. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to mention that Hannah's not here, but I might as well just throw it in now that we received 8 resumes that looked viable, or I should say, Amelia did. And Hannah reviewed 6 of them. Amelia said it's narrowed down to 4 to schedule phone screens. So Amelia sent to the 4 candidates on January 5th that and she phone screened 1 applicant who lives in Buellton. Good background currently, or maybe I'm not supposed to go into the level of detail on this. Good background currently at Boys and Girls Club in Santa Barbara, would bring into the interview. She heard back from 1 candidate who withdrew his application. And then she sent out another email remaining 2 as she had not heard back from them. So more to come on that.
And that's for Hannah?
Yes, yes. And that ends my report.
Just a note on the, the structural upgrades, all of the auditorium was, sheeted in terms of, earthquake, prevention, so I hope people know that, so. In 1980, 81, that entire, interior of the auditorium was, this is all lath and plaster, which I still don't understand, other than the roof, why we have to worry about it, because you look at the downtown area, which is brick, unreinforced, brick.
Yeah,
That's subject to, to falling, although this building is 100 years old, 1929, so it's gonna be 100.
I think get the leaks that
Well,
would be.
there's these pillars that had to be dealt with, the pillars had to be replaced because of,
Yeah.
you'll lose the balcony if the pillars go. But anyway, we're looking forward to the upgrades, and we really need to look at the ARPA money and this money here to make sure that now there's a 834,000 just for the building, and a little bit for the police. I see a little bit for the fire, but we need to put more money into our public safety center.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can massage it, and that's just a remarkable amount that got us that amount, which I'm so grateful for. And
Okay.
you guys, I'm sure, pushed for it too, because I remember you calling me saying, we're gonna keep looking at that 1.1 million and Greg Hart and this and that. So grateful to Greg Hart and his
Associates.
and Christina.
So will this be added to a proposed future city council agenda item or workshop?
I was kind of hoping we could do a workshop on it, unless you want it at a council meeting.
On this item,
On just sort of the idea of ARPA funds in general and the 1.1 million and all these possible projects.
with the ARPA and this building, I think we just have it here as a regular council
Okay.
meeting, so that
Okay,
we can agendize it and say, this is what's going on. If you're interested, get over here. So,
to spend a little time on it in the actual council, okay.
Get it, Tom?
Yeah, I thought to go over some of the planning department information, but. And then maybe Hannah's, because she's not here, but it's all in here if you wanna
No,
pull it out.
any questions about Hannah, provided or the public, or operational stuff?
Just a heads up, Todd, on
Mhm.
number 8 with the Central Coast Processing. When they're ready, I'd still like to, take a tour.
Yes, they definitely wanna do that, but you reminded me and I'll shoot them an email tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any questions, Tom? Comments? Okay. Go to, Director of Public Safety report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, the city council, and staff. To be concise in our report, first off is the Guadalupe Public Safety Fire Department. Was, just today, I was notified, we were awarded a firehouse sub safety grant for $17,715 and, be able to purchase for the purchase of 4 AEDs and accessories. So, we'll have those, within, the fire vehicles and around town. So That's really nice to kind of have that. Other item is working with the city administrator and city attorney to develop a city website and social media policy. Recently, we have received requests from private companies to post their information of public services on our website. And we do not really have a policy if we want to tell some people, no, we don't want that in there. So the city attorney has located a couple of other cities' website policies. And so with Todd and I, we talked, and so I'm reviewing those and we'll get something back to the council as soon as possible so you can review. Like I said, thank you to Councilperson Hernandez at her request. And she's the first one to really notice. We now have purchased signage for our surveillance cameras that are in the park. That is per our police department policy that we will have signage. We spoke with our city attorney and he reviewed everything. And this was the proper procedure for us to follow. So we have it in English and Spanish that we'll put up in Leroy Park where the cameras are and also in O'Connell Park. We've delivered that to our staff of the public parks, and they're gonna be putting those up as soon as possible.
Eddie.
That'll work. And last but not least, I've sent some internal emails at least to some of the staff here. I'm working with the county victim witness agencies here and in Southern California, and also with the Mexican consulate to see if we can about locating and to seize assets from the homicide suspect that harmed our Guadalupe residents. So right now I'm looking to secure additional funding for the children that are left behind without their mother and now their father's in jail. So I'm working on that. I've made some contacts with the consulate and the different agencies. So we got word that this family in Mexico does have assets. And so they're willing to kind of work with us and hopefully we can see stuff. There's some challenges that the children have other than just losing their parents. So we want to be able to help as best as possible. With that, that's my report.
Okay.
Any questions?
Question, council?
Thank you, thank you, Chief, for all your hard work. This Christmas, we had the fire department pass by with the fire trucks. It's a really great time. The kids were really excited. Aubrey was screaming at Santa, Santa, I drew your picture. But I also received a lot of phone calls of residents wanting to volunteer and support the fire department. Because this was the first year that they didn't hand out candy. So volunteers asked, how can they support? And so I just thought I would mention that to you.
If I can get 20 seconds on that one. As you can see in the future agenda items, and our next agenda, this is something that, really kind of started with the mayor and his wife, after we had the floods, where we had so many people displaced. We had a lot of different agencies and the mayor was on the ground and a few other people up here. We saw food and clothing and that coordination alone was awesome, but that was just out of your hip pocket, technically. There was nothing organized. Well, with that, we had citizens who stepped forward and you can see it took us 6-7 months. We've been meeting and so we've written out the whole plan and it's gonna be presented at the next council meeting. Our group, it's called the Guadalupe Safety Support Team, GSST. And so now we'll have a place for people who want to volunteer. And at first, it was really for public safety, but through the citizens, they wanted something for the city. So we kind of removed that aspect of really saying just fire and police. And so there'll be volunteers for the city. So other departments to be able to help out late nights and helping out with whatever other activities. So it's evolved. And so it's all been citizen community driven, which kind of nice. And they're going to lead it. we're going to manage it out of public safety, but it's a citizen board that's going to really lead it. And so we'll have a cadre of volunteers to help with all different kind of events. So it's kind of exciting, and they'll be in uniform, and there's an academy training. I don't want to get too much, but it's going to be presented next month or this next city council meeting, and some of those people will be here to speak on it. So we're really kind of fun and excited to see how this thing kind of turns out. So thank you.
Good. Related to that, I received a call today from Santa Barbara County Food Bank, and they want to have a disaster location here in Guadalupe for food. So that's a good time to connect with the group that's moving this forward, so. Any questions of the chief? Okay, good job.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Item 9, service manager, you asked us to look at the report on Hannah's.
Oh, do you wanna,
But we have a report, so we don't need to go
Oh.
over it.
right, yeah.
Other
Okay.
than a comment
Mhm.
that the fastest growing activity is pickleball.
Right, I know, we've talked about
It's
that.
huge, and
Yeah.
I was at Trader Joe's the other day, and one of the Almaguer girls who works with Jennifer says, why in the heck doesn't Guadalupe have pickleball? We have 2 facilities that can accommodate, you have Leroy Park, and you have this gym here. There's this pickleball, you can play when you're gray haired, and you can play at 80 years old, or you can play at 12 or 10 or 9. We need to look at what else is out there for a community other than volleyball, basketball, softball.
We can jump on that even without the new recreation person.
Well,
So it's
just
simple
thing. You
setup.
have portable nets, you have
Simple
portable
setup.
lines,
Yeah.
people, you look at, Santa Maria, you have Napomo, you have Santa Maria, there's a lot of individuals. The ex-police chief, Kristen Tartas, is really big into, pickleball, and he's willing to help, organize that. So is, John, one of the Jimenez brothers, who runs a pickleball in park there at next to Water Park. So anyway, put that in the minutes so that it doesn't get lost. Then we need
Sounds
to look at having pickleball.
Although she doesn't put a lot in the minute.
I mean, I believe it's probably one of the fastest growing sports right now.
Yeah.
It is.
I know that, over here at, Monarch Dunes.
Trilogy, yeah.
Trilogy, there's an actual league out there. So
Yeah.
a lot of people now they're fighting for tennis or pickleball. So I think pickleball's making its.
We don't have to travel as much when the ball flings off. It's
Right,
right
yeah.
there.
Right, so
Yeah.
let's look into that. That's good.
All right, we will, okay?
All right.
Right.
Just to mention, on Hannah's report, I think on February 23rd, there'll be the father and daughter dance.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure she'll be looking for volunteers and for people to be attending and buying tickets.
By you mentioning that, but obviously, I'll mention it to her.
All right. We'll go on to our regular business, item 10, human resource manager positions, salary range increase, Mia, Ms. Villegas.
Okay.
You can stay there, just use your
Yeah.
microphone,
Gotta get my notes.
okay.
Okay. There are 3 of you on the council right now who might remember back in September 2022. I was interim HR manager at that time too. And I presented a request to move the salary range for the HR manager. It was approved and it was a nominal 6%. That's what we recommended. It was approved, but in hindsight, we felt it was pretty much of a Band-Aid. And the market has really changed significantly for experienced HR people. And in the staff report attached to it rather is a comparison with other cities. And I show those comparisons only, not to say that we're going to look like, or trying to look like Santa Maria, we're trying to look like Atascadero, Paso, whatever. It's just to show the differences in terms of HR functions at the different cities and salary ranges. You can see that Guadalupe is on the lower end in comparison to the 6 or 7 cities I've used as a comparison. What I think is important is to do a comparison with Solvang, though. I think that's an easier way to talk about this. Solvang has 25 employees. They don't have public safety, we have public safety. They don't have unions, we have 3 unions. Now granted, they have tourism, they have revenue coming in from that stream, we don't. Guadalupe will have in the next week and a half, 42 employees. We hired 1 police officer yesterday, we're gonna hire another one on January 22nd. And on January 16th, we're hiring 2 operator training individuals for the treatment plant. So we have 42 employees, and again, we have public safety, and we have 3 unions here. Prior to about maybe a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, Solvang didn't have a dedicated HR function. It was handled by probably the administrative services director, maybe the city manager, maybe an individual or 2 in finance. But they did create a position, and they did hire a part-time person, 20 hours a week. And the starting salary for that is $41 an hour. Annually, that's 85, rounded up, 85,500. What we're proposing is to move the HR salary range 15%, with a starting salary of $40.76 or 84,000, rounded up, 84,500. Somewhat comparable to Solvang. And that's the easiest comparison we can make as far as Guadalupe versus the salary range of any other city on the Central Coast. The Central Coast to me is the labor market that we have for HR and for a number of other positions, but particularly for HR. I think it's critical that the person that we hire is someone who's extremely experienced in all the different disciplines of HR. And I'm speaking of employee relations, compensation, recruitment or employment, benefits, not my favorite, training, policy development, those types of things. We've interviewed currently and in the past, and I've phone screened individuals who have depth in maybe 2, excuse me, 2 of those disciplines. It's critical that the individual have in-depth experience and knowledge in employee relations, in policy, in problem identification, analysis, resolution. If they have experience dealing with unions, all the better, not mandatory. If they have experience in labor relations, that's great, not mandatory. Compensation is important. The city is going to be growing. It is growing. And there'll be need for new positions. So job analysis, job description, compensation, salary structure, salary analysis, salary comparisons, those types of things. The other thing that I think is important, having done interim HR stint here for a couple, 3 times, is the need for consistency. It's easy to think that an HR person or anybody coming in, that they just know what the benefits are, they know what the salary structure is, they know what when payday is or things like that. And it takes a while for an individual to establish relationships with managers as well as with employees. It takes a while. An experienced individual will be able to do that a little quicker than someone who is less experienced. That's a no-brainer. But what I've seen in the past, and it's unfortunate, is that when managers and staff become used to an individual in HR, that individual moves on to other opportunities. And no one is saying somebody comes here and they're going to stay until they retire. I did, but that's a different story. So it's not fair, I think, to all city staff, be it managers or employees, to have a lesser experienced individual at a lower salary, who may stay here for a few years, a couple of years, and move on. And then we're back into looking at another recruitment process. It takes a while. And then that individual comes and begins to establish a relationship with managers and employees. So we need someone who there's no guarantee that when you recruit someone that person's going to stay for any length of time. There's no guarantee. I don't care how good of a recruiter you are. That's something very difficult to look at. I could go on and on about why we need someone strong. I'm not gonna be here for any length of time, hopefully. Todd is gonna have to deal with the individual that we hire, so I'm gonna turn it over to Todd to make some comments.
Well, yeah, I would say, that, I've been here 4 years, and I think in this position, we're talking a single position, doesn't have support staff. And when you compare it to a lot of different positions, I feel like we need a strong standalone HR. And in this labor market, it's critical that we have that. I feel like, this is a very, very important position in terms of it's legalistic. We work with our attorney, we work with the big departments in police. And I just feel like it's critical that we get a really good, strong, experienced person for this position. I think the amount of 15% increase is really not outrageous, and I think that it just makes sense to do this to get the best possible person for this position, and it's in the budget.
I might also add, one thing, like you might say, well, these, Todd mentioned other positions, other HR positions in other cities have support staff. You might say, well, maybe for lesser money, you can get a part-time support staff person. Todd and I talked about that. We talked about that at length, and the need for a support person here with the size of the staff that we have, it fluctuates. For example, as you know, the SEIU MOU and the POA MOU was approved in November and December. So there was a lot of salary adjustments, retroactive salary adjustments, health premium adjustments for both of those unions. So that was about 25 employees that had to be done. So that was a very high paperwork process. But the need for support staff isn't constant. I would suggest now that with the size of the staff that it's more of the experienced HR professional that's needed. That's it.
I mean, I support the recommendation wholeheartedly.
Any questions?
I do. There's what's called a generalist, and there's somebody above that. What is that above that? Is there?
Well, you can have a structure is a HR generalist or HR rep, and you can have an HR supervisor, you can have an HR manager, you can have an HR director.
I'm getting to my other point is that manager doesn't seem like, I noticed that a couple of the cities have officers. And what's the difference between, well, there is a difference when you say manager as opposed to director.
Yes, there's
Which
a
has
difference.
a little more to it. There's a little more,
Well, there's more responsibility with a director position versus a manager. In terms of a hierarchy, your
Right.
manager's right below a director.
right. So this person wouldn't have anybody to go to, just that person.
Correct.
What's, why toy with the manager when you can use an officer or director?
Well, I look at the position here, you
Yes.
speaking of the position here?
Right, just the name.
Just the
showing up.
title?
Yeah.
Position title? I think when you're talking about, my experience is when you're talking about a director, there is staff. And with the manager, for example, this position going way back to when it first was established back in 2006. It was a temporary position and became regular full-time March of 2007. It was called HR director at that time. And there was no real reason behind it. It just was, let's call it that.
Yeah.
When there was the salary cuts in 2012 by an interim city administrator, 30% of HR salary was cut, and the title was cut to coordinator, HR coordinator. That was the opinion of the interim city administrator at that time.
Then lower the position, lower the compensation. Didn't it?
Lower the compensation, lower the title, responsibilities remain the same. So over the years, as the staff began to grow and there were different city administrators, I felt it appropriate to use the title manager. And you can say, well, this position doesn't manage staff. That's true. It manages a function, in my opinion, a critical function.
I have no problems with it, just wondering the details, so. Any questions to Amelia?
No, but I have a question. So our budget right now and our future budgets will be able to sustain the 15% increase for it? Okay.
Mr. Robles? Questions? Christina? Is there, any other questions of, there are no other questions, is there a motion to adopt resolution 2024-03?
I motion to adopt resolution 2024-03.
There a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Aye.
Councilmember Robles,
Aye.
Mayor Julian,
All
excuse me, Councilmember Lazardi absent,
Okay,
Mayor Julian.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Makes sense.
Much needed.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, item 11, I see, Tom has been patiently waiting out there and wherever you are, Sacramento?
Yep.
Okay, the next item 11 is approval of formation of nonprofit corporation, hiring of, attorney Tom,
Warble.
Rubble, okay. Tom, Mr. Bradbury, you want to talk about that?
I do. Good evening, Mayor Julian, council members and city staff. My name is Tom Branderbury. I was hired by the city as the project manager for the redevelopment of the Royal Theatre. We're asking the council to approve the formation of a city nonprofit. And in addition to that, to hire Thomas Warble, who is a nonprofit attorney that specializes in working with nonprofits and forming nonprofits. The reason behind this is primarily, as you know, the city received just under 10 million in grant funds from the federal government and the state government. Our estimates, and as you know, we don't have bids actually in yet, but our estimates of those potential bids and what we think they will be and all the other costs come out to what we guess to be about 13 million. So we have a gap. You may remember that in the past we hired a tax consultant and we also hired a tax attorney for the purposes of getting tax credit investments. The two tax credit investments that we're looking for is new market tax credits. A little bit about new market tax credits. You may know that the Housing Authority is redeveloping their units, and they've also built or are building a community center. That community center's funds is new market tax credits. We're also looking, because the Royal Theatre is a historic building on the Federal Register, we're also looking at historic tax credits. That are federal historic tax credits. I will, as a side note, the California government is in the rulemaking process and are fairly close to releasing California historic tax credits. We don't know if the city would be eligible for those tax credits or not, but we will be looking into that as we get closer to them being released. The main thing to remember, or the thing to be aware of, is in the new market tax credits process and in the historic tax credit process, a city is ineligible to receive those investments directly. So to address that issue, new market tax credits require that the investment go to a nonprofit. And historic tax credits require that the investments go to a for-profit, which the city is neither. So the intent here and the process is that we first form a nonprofit so that we are able to accept new market tax credits. The second part of this is while the city cannot form a for-profit, a nonprofit can form a for-profit. So the city nonprofit, which can accept new market tax credit investments, can form a nonprofit, which then in turn can accept historic tax credits. So what you're seeing today is the early part of this. While we have the skills and the people to do the work, we now have to create the entity to accept those investments. So that's the basics of it. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Can I?
Sure.
Tom, it doesn't necessarily have to just apply for the Royal Theater. This nonprofit can also do other things beyond even
Yes.
the Royal Theater.
Yeah, so one of the things that we intend to do between now and the next council meeting is to discuss the basics of the nonprofit. What is it this nonprofit can do other than accepting accepting new market tax credit? Maybe we want that nonprofit to address all economic investments and all economic encouragements for the city. So the nonprofit is open to being more than just an entity that accepts new market tax credits. And I would personally recommend that the city if the city is going to create a nonprofit, let's use this nonprofit for more than just accepting investments. Between now and the next meeting, we intend to come up with some of the basics of that nonprofit. What are the bylaws going to say? How many board members should there be? What is the mission of the nonprofit? And then bring back to the council next meeting some of those basics to get feedback from the council if we're going in the right direction, and any input the council may have on what they want to see in the articles and the bylaws.
Good.
Once we've done that, we would then bring Thomas, the attorney, in to start doing the actual legal documents.
You know, I mentioned before that the city of Lompoc and also the city of Santa Maria has their own nonprofits. I think they speak highly of, both mayors speak highly of that. And I think that we then will have the ability to, as a nonprofit, to look at other resources that will help the community. So I'm in favor of this. So is there questions of Tom, since he's here, there?
I really like how the city of Lompoc and Santa Maria have that nonprofit. It's really great. And we are getting these conversations on nonprofit. Is that Tom? Is that you?
On this particular case, it'd be Tom, but he's working with Philip, myself,
Right.
and the mayor. So we've kind of been working on this this idea behind the scenes.
Yes, I'll be helping move it along, and making sure that we get all of the subject matters addressed, organizing the meeting with Thomas when that time is right, putting together the document to bring to the council. So I'll be doing stuff, yes. But my understanding is we would want to start with a smaller group and then bring what we've come up with to the council.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Is there
No question. Do those other cities like Lompoc also have the for-profit side of?
No.
Right.
I'm not sure if Lompoc has, but Phil knows.
Mr. Mayor, when we first started doing this, we were thinking of having the city form a for-profit, but I researched it and it doesn't appear that that's permissible. The city can form a nonprofit and that's it. And it makes sense because nonprofits are seen as not subsidizing, supporting the city's mission overall, which is to benefit the public, and for-profits aren't about that, so.
One more question about, so this is more or less, the historical tax credits, right, is where you're allowed, is where you would need to have a for-profit, right? Is that what he's saying? So
Yes.
are there other cities or something that had something that's similar where they're receiving historical tax credits in a different way other than through a for-profit?
Just to give you a bit, if you look at the Housing Authority, which is a quasi-government entity, They have the best example of a project that they're working on and the formation of a nonprofit to accept those tax credits. So they've created this situation for the nonprofit side of this. Because of the fact that they can't, but their formation of a nonprofit is solely for that community center. What we're suggesting is for the city should go beyond just the project nonprofit, but actually look at a city nonprofit doing more.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think Tom got the answer, if I may. The question I think was, is there another way that the tax credits can be funded, historic tax credits can be funded other than through a for-profit corporation? And I believe the answer is no. This is how they work. So,
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, the historic tax credits require it to go to a for-profit.
Okay, the first step is a nonprofit, then the second step is profit.
Yeah. And I will say that the city attorney that was hired as a tax consultant is the one that has given us this direction as the best way forward. So this is not a decision we're making ourselves. It's our tax credit attorney that's suggesting this process.
Okay, any questions of Tom or Todd or anybody else? We have a resolution before us, resolution 2024-04. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-04.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Robles,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Mazzoli absent, Mayor Julian.
Aye, all ayes. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Okay, go to future agenda items. We have some stack coming up.
Keeps building.
Anybody want to add anything to that or? No? We have a recreation meeting. Joint meeting, that's next
Tuesday.
Tuesday? How do you know?
16th, I think.
What's that?
If it's this.
I think it's next Tuesday.
It is the Tuesday. Did we receive feedback on that?
I don't know. Who's able to make it from the,
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm not able to attend this
Okay, about you, Gene?
on the 16th, next Tuesday.
I should be able to.
Okay, then Megan will probably, as long as we have the commission, go ahead.
Yeah, Megan said she was gonna be there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the 16th.
Yep.
Okay. Announcements, council activity reports. Anybody?
School's back in session tomorrow, so just a kind reminder for us to all drive safely. Also February 10th, just to save the date, is a 211 Community Day celebration in Santa Maria. It will be a free resource fair with over 50 local organizations to help support the community.
Great. Gene, anything? No. Gilbert? No. I got a few things, I have a couple for you, Amelia. One, January 3rd was a high school, junior high school groundbreaking. Congratulations to the district and the community of Guadalupe for supporting the tax increases for that. Guadalupe Food Bank, in December, we saw 237 families, which equals about 1,100, almost 1,200 total family members. January last week, we saw 273 individuals, which is about 1,300 family members. And I mentioned Guadalupe Food Bank operations, look at that as a disaster entity for food here locally. tomorrow is the North County Sub-Regional Planning Committee. We meet, SBCAG meets, all the members, there's 13 members on SBCAG. All the city, are represented on the SBCAG and 5 county board of supervisors. North County is the North County side. We talk about things like the road 166 Main Street, so we're talking about that tomorrow. And I mentioned to Christina about Margie Kern, the director, would like to meet with us to talk about the future in terms of what's going on in Guadalupe. And we're gonna make arrangements for that. And then SBCAG meeting is next January 18th, and all directors have to go to Santa Barbara for a big deal there. So that's down the road. That's all I had.
I do have a comment. Todd, I know that you are reaching out to local nonprofits to have them present. I have actually met an individual from the Food Bank Pantry wanting to make more connections and bring more programming. So maybe that might be an option if I send you that contact. I would love to connect the mayor to that.
Yes, please, and we'll make sure and reach out to that person for a presentation.
Yeah, presentation or one-on-one, whatever you guys can do.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn to successor agency board meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Do we need a break?
It's
Now
up to you
we've
guys.
got,
No, it's just I'm waiting for a while.
we've got Joy waiting for us.
The joy to have joy.
Have a good one.
Good night.
See ya.
Chief.
Good night, Chief.
See you,
Thank
Chief.
you.
Bye, Chief.
Okay, now we have new hats on, recognize obligation payment schedule and administrative budget for July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Joy.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and successor
evening.
agency board meetings. Can you, members, can you hear me all okay?
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. So this item is the proposed approval of a recognized obligation payment schedule and administrative budget for the successor agency. If you'll recall, the successor agency is funded with tax increment monies that are allocated to the successor agency by the county. The ROPS, which is the shorthand for the recognized obligation payment schedule, sets forth the ongoing obligations that need to be funded by the successor agency. We are getting close to winding down the successor agency, or at least taking care of the ongoing enforceable obligations. So right now, the two remaining primary obligations are the debt service for the 2017 tax allocation bonds and the administration of the successor agency. So the ROPS requests debt service for the bonds on line 28 of the ROPS detail schedule, and funding for the administrative costs, which are broken down in the administrative budget as to the salaries and such that are covered, right? And it's a city administrator, a portion of the city administrator's salary, the finance directors, my fees, the city attorneys, and various related professional services. So once this is approved by you all, it goes to the Countywide Oversight Board at Santa Barbara next week. Provided that they approve it, it goes to the Department of Finance. And if the Department of Finance approves it, then the successor agency gets two distributions of property taxes, one on June 1st, more or less, July 1st, more or less, and one on January 1st, more or less, of the fiscal year 24-25. The administrative costs will be used to transfer the Al's Union property to the city. If you recall, last month, you all approved the transfer of Al's Union to the city. That is going to go to the Countywide Oversight Board next week as well. And in addition to taking care of that property and transferring it out, There's some reconciliation that Janice is working on that has to do with the remediation of Al's Union and the reimbursements from the leaking underground storage tank fund. So there's nothing, and once the Al's Union property is transferred, then the successor agency will be eligible to file what's called the remediation is reconciled. The successor agency will be entitled to file a last and final ROPS, which will basically project the debt service out until the 2037, which is when the bonds mature. And once that is approved by you, the Countywide Oversight Board and the Department of Finance, there won't be a need to prepare and get this schedule approved every year. It'll get automatically paid out by the county to the city as successor agency so that Janice can make the bond payments, and it'll sort of be on autopilot until 2037 when the bonds are paid off. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions from the council? I'm glad I'm not a finance person. Up at night. I'm glad you all are here, so. No question from the council, staff, you're good. Is there a successor agency resolution 2024-01? Is it for us? Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve 23-24.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Councilmember Cosa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Robles.
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Rizaldi absent, Mayor Julian.
All right. Thank you, Joy.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Good evening. Okay, next item is adjournment to closed session. Is there a motion to do so?
I'll motion to adjourn the closed session.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.